How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Reafi. We're back here on Farmer Phil. Okay, so this is going to be a new episode. I just want to point something out, though. This is not really scripted or planned. Usually, most of the times, I write down general topics I'm going to talk about on each episode, but this one is more of like a checkpoint type one. And of course, we're going to be talking about ToA. Now, in case you guys didn't know, I've used Veromos last week during ToA reset. I actually fused him like during the ToA reset day, and we already max skilled him. Took him up to level 40, 6-star, and then put on some decent runes on him. I mean, it's okay. The stats aren't crazy. He actually does need more HP. Just a general guideline, you guys should be looking for around plus 15,000 HP. And the reason I say that is because in Giants B10, the entire run is dependent and revolving around your Veromos. So he's going to be your main source of damage, doing the continuous damage effects, being able to kill the Giant's boss. Without him, you can't kill the Giant's boss efficiently. So you really do need him. And then, of course, he's also taking away and cleansing the defense break that the boss puts on you. So he's quite important. And you'll also notice that I put him on a Swift set. Having around plus 70 speed or more is ideal. You don't want to go any lower than that, or he's not going to be consistent. So don't worry. We're actually going to get more speed once we max this rune. That's why I'm saving up a ton of mana. I've got 1 million mana. So yeah, I guess a lot of people are talking about how mana is really scarce, and I never really felt that way. I mean, I'm crafting runes on Farmer Field too. I mean, I've got lots of materials here, but of course I've just been crafting runes non-stop for Swift sets because I need Swift sets. So you're probably wondering, okay, great, now I can farm Giants B10. I'll do a quick run here just to show you. It's with my own Veromos, by the way. And you're probably thinking, okay, where do I go from here? What do I do? Because a lot of people start farming Giants B10, or maybe they're in the process of making a Dragons B10 team, and they're thinking to themselves, all right, now what? Where do I go? What do I do? I mean, I don't really know where to progress from here. It branches off into so many different areas. It can be quite confusing. So I'm going to go ahead and just write this out. This is, of course, not the only way that you can progress, but this is, in my view, the most efficient way and the fastest way to progress in the game. So first, you're going to want to complete Giants B10. So you're going to want to do this, set up your team, fuse Veromos, and get Belladon, both of them up to 6-star. And you guys are probably also wondering, oh, how are you farming? How are you making 6 stars? How can you do that if you don't have a farmer? I use Belladon to farm. It takes about 2 minutes, but hey, it's consistent. It works on hell mode. It's fine. You don't need someone super fast to do it. You're not going to be pumping out 10 6-stars in 1 week. It's not happening, especially if you're free to play. You're going to run out of crystals. So just use Belladon. It doubles up, and then you also got sustainability because Belladon's a healer, and it'll help you a lot more than trying some Lucian 6-star and then not being able to farm runes for it. So there's that too. So on top of that, once you get your Giants B10 team with your Veromos and Belladon both 6-starred, you're going to want to start immediately fusing Beretta. Now, I would have already had Beretta fused, except for the fact that I had a quiz on the day, and a lot of classes, by the way. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm super busy, so sometimes I don't get to upload during those times. I wasn't able to hop on Farmer Phil, and I wasn't able to farm for about like an hour or two in the water hall, so I'm missing one material for the Beretta fusion, and that's it. But you guys should be going for the Beretta fusion after that. So once you get the Beretta fusion, Beretta is basically that staple unit that's going to help you progress in ToA. Now, of course, you don't absolutely need Beretta. I'm already up in the 60s right now. I can show you really quickly. But I'm up in the 60s without Beretta. I'm using this exact team that I have shown here. Now, of course, my Shannon and my Bernard are both lacking in stats because, of course, they tend to get targeted by the fire units. They die sometimes, and it's just a pain in the butt. So the way that you want to handle that is, if you are struggling in stats, you should be taking your runes on slots 2, slots 4, and slot 6. So on those slots 2, 4, and 6, you need to take those up to plus 15 if they're 5-star or higher, and if it's the best possible rune that you have. If it's a 6-star rune on slot 2, 4, and 6, and it gets a percent-based substat, or a percent-based stat or speed, then you're going to want, no matter what, to take it up to plus 15. A lot of people are afraid to do this And the result is plus 9 runes, plus 12 runes, all of this jazz, to the point that you don't have the stats. So now you're waiting for runes that you could probably end up never getting, or maybe, you don't progress as much. Maybe it takes you another week to get that rune, and that's an entire week right there that you're not progressing anywhere. You're just farming for that one rune. So take the mana stones that you're earning while you're farming for improvements on your runes and put it into your pre-existing runes. Now you don't want to do it to 4-star runes. Doing it to 4-star runes is pretty big mistake, because the difference between 4-star and 5-star starts getting more drastic, and then the difference between 5-star and 6-star is a pretty big jump. But of course the 6-star runes are more rare, so 5-star runes are pretty readily available. Once you do get the 5-star runes, if it's a percent based substat, and you don't think you're going to be getting another one for like a week or two, then just plus 15 it. It'll save your life. If you look right here, this is my own Veromos team, okay? My own Veromos team, and it's doing quite well. You'll notice that it has improved greatly. I mean, you just look at the damage, and I'm really not taking that much damage. The team is working as intended. Of course, I might lose a unit towards the end, but overall, it's clearing it with around a 90 to 95% success rate. This team was fully functional before I 6-starred Veromos. I did one test run with Veromos before I 6-starred him. Or it wasn't before I 6-starred him, but it was before I max leveled him. And it was working. It was working perfectly fine. He didn't have the HP that he has now, so it wasn't a little bit less inconsistent, or a little bit more inconsistent, but it still worked. So now that you have your Giants Be Done farming team, I just wanted to show you a little example. It's going to take you 4 to 5 minutes to clear it. But yeah, it's really helpful, and your mana problem you'll notice that it'll start to disappear. You'll start to get better runes, and you'll notice that the progression isn't as slow as before. So then once you get your Beretta fusion, you're gonna have to decide, because at this point you should have enough material for a third 6-star. If we look at my monster box here, I have a 5-star here, and then I've got max level Angelmon right here, and then I might end up foddering Saik or Colleen. And the reason I'm saying this is not that they're bad units. They're units that I'm not going to be using anytime soon. And they're 2-star monsters, which I could easily just farm back up, max skill, and then boom, we're done. So again, if you end up with units like this that you have no use of currently, and they're not like, if they're not already max skilled, or even if they're max skilled, because they're pretty easy to max out again, then you can actually use them as fodder. So if we do that, then of course I only have, no, we also have some other units that I wouldn't need. So eventually I could just get rid of Darien, to be honest. So yeah, we have actually enough units to make another 6-star once we get Beretta. So eventually I might end up 6-starring Beretta. Now be careful you don't get rid of some units that might help you. Getting rid of Tion's not that big of a deal. Getting rid of Darien once you get a better option, not that big of a deal. If we took out Darien within our Giants team, I'm sure it would be a little bit less consistent, but I'm sure we would be fine. If you looked at the HP, it wasn't even close to being dead, so it's not like he made that big of a difference. And then you could probably throw in another unit that you might have summoned. Maybe you summoned a damage dealer monster, or maybe you summoned a better support like Chasun or something like that. So you can actually substitute units. Darien is the first one you want to substitute. So if we did, once we progress to ToA, because first it's going to be Giants B10, then we're going to progress to Trial of Ascension. Once you finish clearing Trial of Ascension, that's when you'll want to start working on your Violent Rune team. Basically your Dragons B10 team for those sacred Violent Runes, because Violent Runes are one of the staple runes of the game. After Dragons B10, then you're going to want to start working on ToA Hard Mode. And as you're working on ToA Hard Mode, that's when you'll start noticing a huge leap in your rune quality, because the rune quality that is required for ToA Hard Mode is a lot higher than, this Trial of Ascension normal. So, and it's a lot more unit dependent. So on top of that, you're going to want to decide if you want to focus on PvP or if you just want to focus on PvE. Because if you want to focus on PvP, it might be a good time to start kind of thinking of a Necro team, not necessarily making one yet, but thinking of a Necro team that you could possibly make for the Violent and the the Will and the Nemesis runes. Because for PvP, those are huge. Those are essential. So you want to start thinking like, okay, do I want to start farming those? Maybe start pushing up to Conquer 3. That's when you're ready to push up to Conquer 3, Guardian 1. That's when you want to start farming Necro and getting those Nemesis and Will Runes. Because anything below that, you really don't have to rely on those as much because most people are slow clearing you. Not a lot of people are going to be speed clearing you down in Conquer 1. At least not when I sit down there, or other people do as well. So for this team, what you can run before you get Beretta, and this is just a transitional phase, you shouldn't be in this phase for too long, but while you are in it, you can use Veromos, Bernard, Shannon, Belladon, Darien. If you don't have Darien and you have another support unit, you can use another support unit. That works too. You can even use Tion in the meantime as a temporary reviver that you have. Or, once you fuse Beretta, you can get rid of Darien, throw in Beretta. So let's say we had Beretta. Then we would throw in Beretta, and we could either use the HP leader or we could use the speed leader. I would personally use the HP leader. 33% HP is absolutely phenomenal. It'll increase most of your units by 3,000 HP, and that's a pretty big deal breaker, especially when most of your units are only around 20,000 HP. It's a pretty big deal. Other than that, though, you could eventually end up going speed leader, and that gives you more turns, and then of course you're going to be getting heals off more, and etc, etc, etc. So the general idea is that I'm trying to get at here, guys, is once you get your own Giants B10 farming team. By the way, guys, if you guys have Veromos reps, I don't need your Veromos reps. Feel free to delete me, or if you want to change it, feel free to do that too. I don't really mind, but I'm not using Veromos reps anymore because I have my own runes. Now, a lot of people also commented like, well, we don't have tons and tons and tons of subscribers to give us Veromos reps to farm it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The majority of the runes that I got from Giants B10, they didn't really help in my progression at all. They were all despair runes. I want to show you how many despair runes it's given me. But I got a lot of my runes from shop. Like, if we look at Darien, a lot of these runes just came from shop. If we look at my, I think it was my Veromos, this rune came from shop. So, not really much it could do there. So I got 17 despair runes, and these are all usable. I mean, these are all usable runes. If it has percent-based stats and it's a 6-star rune, test it out and see how it goes on substats, because majority of the times you'll be able to use it as an upgrade. So 17 despair runes versus 3 swift, 2 fatal, 1 endure, and 2 blade. Actually, the endure is actually not even a rune. I think I got that from World Boss. So yeah, I mean, you get so many despair runes. I've been getting so many despair runes. That's all from Giants. So you're going to be stacked for Shannon. You're going to be stacked when you get Beretta. So yeah, you don't need to worry so much for Beretta and Shannon runes. It's mainly the Swift runes. Those Swift runes can be really tough to get, especially with the stats. Or maybe I was just unlucky, but yeah, I've got a million, man. I'm going to be working on 5-star or plus 15ing those runes on like Veromos and whatnot. And yeah, okay, let me show you really quickly, guys, before I head off, how close I am to the Veromos fusion. I've got the Serpent, the Kitty, and the Salamander. Now, the only one I'm missing right here is Sharon, the Magical Archer, because I was not available to farm the Water Hall when I was trying to get her materials, and it kind of sucked that I couldn't, but, you know, not really much I could do, and so until then, I just have to keep farming and farming and farming, and that's why I'm almost level 45. Otherwise, I would already have Beretta fused, but it's not a big deal because it's not like some time crunch, it's not like some speed through or speed run. All you have to do is just keep farming runes. Anytime you're waiting for something, or anytime you're trying to get something, like, for instance, I'm trying to get Sharon, the Water Magical Archer, all you have to do is just keep farming. Now that I've got my Giants B10 team, I'm just going to run it, boom, and I'm going to play. And I'm going to go, and I'm going to try to get better runes. I'm going to get mana stones in the process. Never leave your mana stones just lying there. It's a waste. But always keep about 400,000 in reserve. You're going to want to keep about 400,000 in reserve, mainly because there might be a good rune that pops up in shop, and that's how I've managed to buy these runes for my units, like, for instance, on Darien. And that's why Darien does such a good job at surviving with his low base stats. He has some pretty nice HP. This is the type of HP I would want to throw on Veromos, but, of course, without the slow speed. So let me know what you guys think. I definitely want to get some input back on the Farmer Phil series. We're almost coming to an end. I hate to say it. The goal was to reach Trial of Ascension Normal 100 and clear it. We're up in the 60s and we're not really struggling at all, and we don't even have Beretta. So once we get Beretta and put on some of those nasty despair runes that I've already farmed up, I think the rest of ToA is going to be pretty big breeze. We might end up 6-starring him, or maybe we'll 6-star Bernard. I don't know yet, but we'll definitely check that out. We'll test it out, and I'll probably go beforehand on what I'll do. So alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It wasn't really so much like some strict guide on the next step, but this is what you guys should be doing while you're waiting and progressing through Trial of Ascension. And just a little bit of a informational thing. The reason we're doing Trial of Ascension after Giants B10 is because we want to start getting those scrolls. Now for Farmer Phil, not a big deal. For Farmer Phil, he just keep farming more runes, more runes, more runes. Because for Farmer Phil, everything's farmable. Eventually, he'll get it. But for you guys want to get those unique monsters like Chasoon, Galleon. You'll want to get stuff like that. And that allows you to get those units by going through Trial of Ascension, basically. So that's why we're going through Trial of Ascension. That's why it is fully guaranteed to go through Trial of Ascension and Trial of Ascension hard mode ASAP. And to do that, we have to get solid farming teams with our dungeons. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what else you guys would like me to discuss on topic for Farmer Phil. But I think the series has a few more episodes left, maybe a couple more episodes left, and then we might possibly end up giving the account away, or I'll probably try to see how far I can get in ToA hard mode after I clear ToA normal. But I think once we clear ToA normal, we'll probably end up giving the account away. So stay tuned for that. Also with the account giveaway winners, I'll be announcing that probably either tomorrow or the day after. But definitely sometime this week. I usually give it a few days, guys. Just keep that in mind. But we will be giving away those accounts this week. So no worries. It's coming soon. Okay, so chill out. Alright, guys. I will see you all later.